Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. And for all my continued followers, I want to say thank you. And this is an opinion-based video channel where I try to open your eyes and ears up to some of the travails and tribulations that take place throughout our cities, our states, our country, and sometimes around the world. And this short story I have for you today is coming straight out of St. Louis, Missouri, where I primarily do my YouTube channel. And this is a crazy, unfortunate case of two individuals who took complete advantage, allegedly, of individuals who were suffering from the opioid crisis, homelessness, and helplessness. These two individuals took advantage of people who are down on their luck, who have addiction issues, and the two individuals that did it, they're suffering from greed, narcissism, and just the criminal mind. So this is a very different subject matter and case that happened right here in the Midwest, right here in St. Louis, and has to deal with illegal checks, bogus checks. I didn't even think people were doing that kind of scam anymore, with everything being a digital footprint and technology and its advances. We almost live in a cashless society, but I guess people are still writing checks and cashing them and paying their bills and doing things with checks. But we're heading in a direction where it's going to be completely cashless. As you all know, we got rid of the penny, and next we'll be getting rid of the dollar. Everything will be digital. But let's get into this crazy story. As I tell you all the time, the unseen will become seen and the unbelievable will become believable. This is a crazy story. So let's go. Two St. Louis area men recruited homeless people and drug-addicted individuals to carry out an elaborate fraud scheme involving stolen identities and high-value checks, some worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, according to a newly filed charging document. On Friday, the St. Louis Circuit Attorney's Office charged Samuel Stewart, 26, and Royce Charles Laron Finger Jr., 22, each with one count of conspiracy to commit a Class A, B, or C felony or unclassified felony in connection with the case. And look at these guys' ages, 22 and 26. They got their whole lives in front of them. These two individuals masterminded this bogus check scheme. And if they're that intelligent enough, think about it, folks, is they're in the beginning of their life. They got their whole life in front of them. They can control many variables in their lives, and they're choosing to go into this negative direction. If you're smart enough to make fake checks, get them passed through the banks or through check cashing places, just think if they use that same energy and intelligence in a positive direction, you could possibly be looking at two potential lawyers versus convicted felons in the criminal system. Young folks, is just a swing of the pendulum. Do you want to do the right thing, or do you want to do the wrong thing? So, in a months-long investigation, revealed an organized scheme that relied on recruiting vulnerable individuals, including homeless people and drug addicts, to open bank accounts under the false identities, while Stewart and Finger allegedly provided housing, food, money, and drugs. Housing, food, money, and drugs to maintain control of the individuals. So this is where this story is interesting. You got these two young guys who are choosing to use their intellectual capabilities in a negative way, but they're going all the way to providing housing, food, money, and drugs to these individuals. So they are fully engrossed and encapsulated with these individuals to get them to commit this kind of fraud. And remember, we're talking about banks. You're talking about going into a bank and there's surveillance cameras everywhere. How did these two young guys think they were going to get away with this? So according to St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department, probable cause statements. In September 2025, detectives received reports that Stewart and Finger obtained multiple United States Treasury checks. Listen to this. Multiple United States Treasury checks with paid names of individuals not believed to be associated with them. The checks were in large amounts, with at least one check exceeding $882,000, according to the probable cause statements. One of the United States Treasury checks was for almost $1 million. Now, their arrogance and hubris went so far as that these two people, 22 and 26 years old, these two guys, and thought that they could get away with cashing an $882,000 check, and let alone if they are young black males and they're not entertainers, Nelly, or basketball players, professional athletes. You don't think a red flag was going to go up for the bank to see that these two individuals, as young as they are, having to show IDs and all these digital footprints, that they could get away with cashing an $882,000 check? That's why I tell you, the unseen will become seen and the unbelievable will become believable. For them to believe that they could get away with this, and it almost makes you think, were they on drugs? They couldn't have been thinking with a clear mind. In October 2025, police arrested Stewart while he was reportedly escorting an individual to unfreeze a business account previously opened at Lindell Bank with a stolen identity. Now, Lindell Bank, here's the association. Here again, I'm doing this story right out of St. Louis, that Lindell Bank is one of my banks that I use. And so I have a personal connection with that in the sense that I've been using Lindell Bank for a long time, and they do a great job. So they tried to get this check passed through Lindell Bank. Stewart's cell phone, when he got arrested, was seized, and a subsequent search warrant revealed an extensive number of documents, photos, and data consistent with fraudulent activities. So look at this is what they found. On Friday, police conducted another search warrant at Stewart's St. Louis apartment, which led to 3 fake U.S. passport cards, 3 fake Citibank MasterCards, 1 U.S. Treasury check valued at around $25,000, 2 checkbooks from the American Bank of Freedom, I've never heard of that place, and a disk with software for a card writer and reader. Listen to how much these two young people, evidently they're not dumb. They got to be somewhat bright to come up with this mastermind and have all of these things to prepare to make bogus checks. So they have some intelligence, but on the other side, the greed and the stupidity and wanting to go into criminality overrode their level of intelligence that took them into this negative direction. That made them think they were going to get away with this in dealing with banks. I don't think so. So they even had like software for a card writer and a reader. They had fake Citibank MasterCards, fake passports. They had 2 checkbooks from American Bank of Freedom. So police believe that Stewart and Finger likely had access to large amounts of money, including cryptocurrency, and had the resources to obtain a fake identity for others, according to the probable cause statements. Therefore, Stewart and Finger have both been taken into custody and booked into jail without bond per Missouri court records. So that's the story. They got arrested. They came up with this scheme. As I said, there are all kinds of technological digital footprints there. You're talking about banks. You're talking about surveillance. You're talking about people, bank tellers and people that work at the bank, security guards that could identify them. They tried to utilize homeless and drug-addicted people to carry this scheme off. Of course, if one of those individuals got caught, they definitely are going to tell on the 2 young men who created this scheme. So none of this was going to work in the long term. scenario. So for young folks, chasing the bag by any means necessary on a short-term basis is not going to lead you to a long-term existence of a great quality of life. Tell me what you think about this case. I say it all the time. The unseen will become seen, and the unbelievable will become believable. These stories of what these young folks are doing or people are doing to each other is callous and inhumane. And a lot of these scenarios where you're seeing young people who are not going to school, college, trade schools to try to have a better life. Your education is the key to your freedom. They're choosing the easier way out of chasing the bag by any means necessary, and is leading a lot of our young people down the wrong road to incarceration, prison, let alone death. Tell me what you think. This has been the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth.